This is from the source, of course.
Yo, yo, yo. Welcome back to another episode of the Attic Podcast. My name is Robertini De'Source, and I am a music producer who also happens to love anime and games. I'm very excited to hop into this episode. We're going to be talking about a lot of great things. We're going to get into managing free time and managing your job. We're also going to talk about the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X that's coming out. And then I'm also going to talk a little bit about where I'm at with One Piece and Hunter x Hunter. Of course, we'll also talk a little bit about some of the beats that I am dropping as well. So, if you're ready to check all of this out, let's get into it and let's go. All right. That was the official theme song of Season 1 of the Attic Podcast. If you guys like that beat, it is on YouTube and it's also available for download at www.iamdesource.com. All right. So let's talk a little bit about managing your job and your free time and managing a business. So a lot of you may not know yet, but I'm actually still working a job, and that's completely okay. I'm currently in the process of getting to a point where I can eventually transition over from the job to a full-time music producer and creator. But given that process, it is still very important to make sure that I manage my free time, of course, manage all the work that I am doing, and of course, still be efficient at my job. I know it can be a very, very, very difficult thing to do. I mean, there are days where you're just so exhausted and so tired that you literally just want to take a couple days and just sleep for 12 plus hours. But knowing that you have so much work, it can be very, very, very difficult. So I just wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about, some of the things that I do, and hopefully you can take away from this and kind of apply it to your own lifestyle when it comes to managing your dreams, your business, and your job. So one of the first things that I've been doing lately is trying to organize myself a lot more. When I first started doing all of this, as in, getting into music production seriously and creating videos, one of the things that really came to mind was, how was I able to manage, or how am I going to manage doing all of this, all at the same time? Because it is a lot. I'm making beats, I'm doing anime reactions, I'm managing a Discord channel, I'm posting videos on YouTube, I'm posting content on Patreon, I'm reaching out to different artists and musicians, I'm also posting on social media. I'm also obviously creating the videos as well as doing this podcast. So with all of this stuff going on, how in the world are we able to manage all of that? It's very, very hard. And if you feel like you can't do everything, first and foremost, I think it's important that you do not overwhelm yourself. This is a task that's only deemed for those who are willing to make certain sacrifices. And those certain sacrifices are going to allow you to be more organized. Now, how is this possible? Well, the first thing that you need to do is you need to build a schedule, right? So for me, I know what time I'm going to work every day. I know what time I'm getting out of work every day. So with that being said, I have a certain set amount of time that I have between, getting out of work and then when it's time to go to sleep, right? So, for example, I get out of work around 4 p.m. Monday through Fridays. With that being said, I have basically, if you take away the travel time, I have about 5 o'clock p.m. to whenever I decide to go to sleep to actually take care of what I need to take care of during the weekdays. Now, obviously, yes, there are life things that happen. Of course, you have to make sure you eat and take care of yourself. But what I would do is I would schedule all of those things, right? So I've gotten to a point where I know, okay, I come home from work, the first thing I'm going to do, take my shower, try to eat my dinner as fast as possible. Even if I eat a little snack and maybe eat a bigger dinner later, I try to make sure I fuel my brain, make sure I unwind, make sure I get my shower in so I'm in the most relaxed mood so I can get a lot of work done, right? So now, once you do that, you sit down and you kind of look at your schedule and say, okay, this is what I need to do for the next 3 or 4 hours or so, depending on the day. So what you can do is you can put a calendar together where you're kind of divvying out certain tasks for a different day. For example, I have a calendar where I divvy up the days where I'm going to be making music, right? So I say Monday and Tuesdays when I come home from work, I'm going to divvy up all of my time of being in the studio and just focusing on music, right? I'm either going to focus on some new techniques that I'm learning in my music production, or I'm actually going to be trying to make as many beats as possible. I do that for usually 2 to 3 days a week, right? So I'll just make some beats, I'll mix some beats together, and that's my schedule. That's all you're going to focus on. And it's very important that you understand that that's all that you focus on. Because one thing that can really get sporadic is when you decide that, okay, I'm going to make beats, but, I'll make beats and I'll also go on my phone, or I'll also kind of, write some things down, etc., etc. What ends up happening is if you start doing that, you're going to be very, very overwhelmed and things are going to get discombobulated. When you make your schedule, you need to be very, very, very strict about what you want to do on these certain days because you have a limited amount of time, right? Secondly, obviously, for my schedule, I also make sure I divvy up time to create content. And, for those of you guys who do videos, or for those of you guys who know, creating content is actually not as easy as people may think it is. 1, you have to come up with the ideas. 2, you actually have to shoot the videos. And then 3, you actually have to edit the videos as well. So that's a whole thing in itself. So for me, what I do is I divvy up days where I'm just going to be creating content only. But the idea is you want to create so much content that you have about a month to 2 months worth of stuff so that when you're in the editing process, you're not feeling pressured to continue to create. That's very, very important. That's the best way that you can stay organized. So for a great example, not only obviously with the music, I have a whole repertoire of music that I have ready that I can release on YouTube and on my beat store. Additionally, since I do a lot of anime reactions, right? I actually film a lot of my anime reactions way before they get released. The reason why I do that is because then I can divvy up a few hours or so to edit maybe 3 or 4 videos together, right? And then I can schedule them out for the week so I'm not feeling pressured to actually get videos out. What's beautiful about this is that all the content is ready, it's all scheduled, and it's all ready to be released. Guess what? Now you have an entire week to actually work on other important things while the content is being distributed out on an automated process. That is extremely, extremely important, and it is extremely beneficial. I mean, I'm telling you right now, when you do something like this, you're going to see how amazing it's going to feel when you have a plethora of content to put out on a weekly basis. It's very, very important that you guys do that. So when it comes to content, make sure when you schedule that day, use that day to create content. Create 10 videos. Take a bunch of different pictures for your social medias. Try to do that all in one day. Then, once you do that, then maybe at the end of the day or the next morning, what you can do is divvy up a couple hours and say, okay, this is the plan for when I want to release this video. Okay, you know what? This video is not ready to be released yet. Let's put it to the side. Create a spreadsheet and have all the content readily available in your spreadsheet, right? With the name of the content, the idea that you have, and then just schedule it out for the month. And as long as you follow that monthly schedule, it's going to make life so much easier. That's something that I think that all of us should be doing, especially when you're owning a business or if you're trying to, put out content, and if you're also trying to manage your job, because once again, you have limited time when you're at your job. So the more that you can do to create an automated process, the easier it is on you, and the easier it is to come home from work and continue to create and continue to be at the highest level of your creativity. I truly believe in this, and I wish I kind of did this a lot sooner, but I've definitely felt like I've been a lot better because of that. So that's extremely, extremely important. And then lastly, when it comes to scheduling, of course, you want to be consistent, right? You don't want to just schedule and then you're not doing the work. It doesn't make any sense. Obviously, if you really want to make this work, you have to be strict with your schedule, and you're going to have to make these sacrifices, right? So with making the schedule, this means that you're just going to be extremely, extremely busy. I mean, it's unfortunate, but that's just the reality. If you're used to hanging out with your friends, if you're used to playing video games, or if you're used to chilling, there's going to be days where you won't be able to do that. There's also going to be days where you're going to have to work and even lose a little sleep just to make sure that you keep up with your schedule. It's a very, very difficult thing to do, and it's not easy. But if you believe in yourself, and if you believe that you can get this to work, you will definitely do it. So definitely go and try to make those sacrifices. Let your friends know, look, I would love to hang with you tonight, but I really can't because I got to get all this stuff done, right? And then just tell them, hey, you know what? I'll make it up to you next week. And then the beautiful thing is, also schedule your time with your family and friends, right? You don't want to just completely isolate yourself with all of the work that you're doing, of course. But what you can do is say, hey, you know what? Next week, I'll chill with you, whatever. Just let me know what time you're free. Tell your friends, hey, are you available between 4 and 9 or something? Then you put in your calendar and say, hey, next Saturday, 4 to 9, I'm going to chill with my friends. Of course, with all of the content that you have planned, you'll be able to do that because you're not behind. That's why it's very important to schedule all of your content and create as much as you can in a day. And last but not least, I also want to point out the importance of taking advantage of your off days, right? Off days are going to be the best days. We all know this. So, on your off days, go hard. That's the day where you really want to put out all or do as much as you can. Make music, create content, put out content. Your days off are going to make the difference of how your week is going to go and how everything that you're doing is going to run moving forward. When I have days off, I'm working all day. I'm either making music, recording this podcast, recording reaction videos, creating content, because that's the best time to do it because you're off. Of course, if you have errands to run, make sure you always take care of your priorities. But if you're around and you have nothing to do all day, don't take this time and sit around and play Call of Duty all day. Trust me, work on what you need to work on, and I promise you, your life will definitely change. You will feel more motivated. That consistency will become a habit, and then this thing will become so easy, and all of a sudden, later down the road, which I'm hoping this is going to happen for me soon, boom, you're able to, finally do what you want to love full time. So I hope you guys really take all of that information and kind of make it your own. There is no set way on how to do things, but the general basis is a schedule makes life that much easier. So with that being said, now we're going to move on to our next topic of discussion. And before we do that, of course, I also want to take some opportunity to just thank all of the first responders that are out there right now during this really, really tough time in this pandemic. As we all know, there's a huge, huge issue going on with the coronavirus, and it's been affecting everybody, employees, companies, all of the above. And a lot of people don't have jobs. It's very tough out there. And I know some people are lucky they're able to work from home, but there's others who are not lucky. So, I just think that we need to also make sure that we take care of each other. If you can help somebody out there, please do so for sure. Make sure you stay safe and make sure you follow the rules. I know right now, currently, there's a lot going on in our government and there's a lot of talks about opening up certain things early, but just follow the procedures, listen to the health professionals because they're the ones who are going to help us get through this the most. So I just wanted to point that out. So thank you to all the first responders, nurses, and everyone who are putting their lives on the line to be in the front lines to help, with people, help taking care of people in the hospitals. So thank you guys so much. And we'll take a quick break. Going to listen to this beat. And then on the other side, we're going to talk a little bit about PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X. All right.
This is from the source, of course.
All right, we're back. I hope you guys like that beat. For sure, if you want to go download it, once again, just go onto my website at www.iamdesource.com and you'll definitely be able to listen to that beat, stream it again if you really like it. So, moving forward, we're not going to talk too long about this, but, given the fact that I also like to keep up with what's going on in the gaming world, we all know the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X are basically supposed to come out. Of course, I suspect there will be a lot of delays, which is completely fair. But yeah, I really just wanted to understand what all of you guys think about, the new generation consoles. There's a lot of cool things going on. We got ray tracing as one of the big features for the consoles. Everything is about making everything much, much more photorealistic. PlayStation 5 already released their specs. Xbox Series X also released their specs. So at this point, it's a matter of what can the systems do and what games are coming out. To me, I'm more excited about the games. The specs are great. I'm a tech person, but we're not really going to get into that. I'm curious to know what kind of games are we going to play and how this is going to actually affect music. The reason why I say that is because I know PlayStation 5 is currently... they're working on really enhancing the audio experience. And I wonder how that's going to work for certain games that when it comes to music and comes to sound in general, I'm really excited to see because as a producer, I could really be playing these games and get very, inspired by certain kinds of sounds. I think it's going to be very, very, very cool to see where that direction goes. So I can't wait for that to come out. And in terms of really the comparison, Xbox fans are going to be Xbox fans. PlayStation fans are going to be PlayStation fans. From my understanding, it seems like the Xbox Series X has certain specs that are more powerful, but the PlayStation 5 can actually do more based on how it's designed. That's from my understanding. I am no expert in this stuff, but if you're interested in letting me know a little bit more about this information, or maybe I'll do research myself, definitely reach out to me. We could definitely talk about all of this. But really what I just wanted to highlight was the fact that these systems are coming out. It's going to be a big deal with the new generation. I'm very excited to see how the innovation is going to be on audio-wise and on what kind of games are going to be coming out. Obviously, Call of Duty, they're always going to be coming out with stuff, but I'm just very curious to know what kind of games we're going to see and how that's going to kind of affect gaming in the future. But more importantly, for me personally, how these games are going to affect my influence reflect on my influence when it comes to me being inspired to create music. I can't wait for all of that because I always look at things that I'm interested in to make music. So that's all I wanted to talk about there. So yeah. So we're now going to get into really one thing that I think if you guys are already here on Patreon, and that's kind of the reaction videos, right? So right now, if you are watching this, or I shouldn't say watching, but if you are listening to this, you're most likely listening to this podcast episode on Patreon because it's out first. So to all my patrons, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. And obviously you guys know at this point that I am currently doing anime reactions, and I'm actually doing anime content in general too, but mostly reactions to One Piece and Hunter x Hunter. I also have a couple bonus animes that I'm watching right now, and those are also going to be posted. Problem Children Are Coming from Another World, Aren't They? Is another anime that I just recently started, and that's a Patreon exclusive. Additionally, I'm also going to most likely be doing reactions to Tower of God, and the reason why is because it's so new and everybody's going to be watching that, so I figured, hey, let's hop on. So that's going to be something to look forward to as well. Now, with the anime reactions, first and foremost, I can say that when it comes to the reactions, I have been very, very blessed to have an opportunity to even watch anime to begin with. Anime is something I've always loved when I was a little kid, for real. And in addition, for me, obviously me loving anime, I figured, okay, you know what? I know I make music, but I just wanted an opportunity to really, really just show you guys that even though I make beats and I, want to get into the music and do all this cool stuff, like, I also wanted to have a place where I can really connect with people. And that's where this whole anime reaction thing kind of came from. Very new to this still. I'm learning the process. It's not really easy to do because, when you're watching anything, like, you're so used to just watching things and being on camera, it can be very nerve-wracking. So it's something that I'm definitely getting used to, but I'm very, very, very excited about it, and I'm having a lot of fun with it, to be honest with you. The idea came from my cousin, which, if you guys haven't figured that out yet, he's actually the other guy who's like kind of hiding in the videos. I know there's some people who are kind of confused about why he's not there. The reason why is because we have a mic setup, honestly, and the way that mic setup is, it's actually much more convenient to be set up in a position where he's sitting. So that's honestly the reason why that he's not in the video. That's really what it is. I know when I started posting some reactions, especially on the YouTube channel, some people were very confused and kind of like were thinking that it was weird, but he means no harm. It's just one of those things where we have a very, very interesting setup in the place that we watch these reactions, and this is the most efficient way to do it for us. And, if you guys have seen a reaction video, you see that there's a TV in the background, which is great because that's actually where he's watching it from. So I just wanted to point that out. But yeah, he was one who gave me the idea about doing the anime reactions, and I was like, yo, like, why not? He felt like the way I reacted to certain things, he felt like it would be cool to get, people who would connect with me, because he feels like, a lot of people would connect with me. And I was like, you know what, let's give this a shot. And that's where this whole thing came from. And I've watched reaction videos before. I've heard of the Patreon thing as well. I just didn't know if I could do it well. But you know what? Life is short, and sometimes it's cool to try new things. So that's where this whole Patreon idea came from. So I want to give a huge shout out to my cousin. Big Daddy No More is what we call him. That's his stage name. So thank you so much, brother. I really appreciate it. So hopefully this thing really does take off, because that'll be amazing. But with that being said, obviously I'm reacting to One Piece and Hunter x Hunter. The reason why I am, because I already was watching One Piece before the reactions. I started watching One Piece in October, and with all of that, I actually I loved it. I really loved One Piece. Like, I really got hooked right away. A lot of people say One Piece is definitely the GOAT when it comes to manga and anime. And I've also heard a lot of people say, of course, the manga's way superior than the anime, but overall, the anime is very overall enjoyable with its issues. Understandable. We're not going to get into that. We'll definitely maybe talk about that in another episode. But really, I thought that, with me getting into One Piece, I figured, you know what? Since, I was told maybe I should do reaction videos, I should try it out. And episode 687 is where I started. I watched a lot of One Piece, y'all. Like, I got into One Piece. I was really watching it. There was a point where I was watching like almost 10 to 12 episodes a day because that's how hooked I was. It's one of those animes where you think that is very basic. It seems very childish and very basic when you first watch it. I mean, if you look at the first episode, even with the quality, of course, because it was such an old running anime, like you would think that it was an anime that wasn't going to be that interesting. But let me tell you something, it gets you hooked very, very quickly. And the world building and the character building so far is some of the best I have ever seen in some of the animes I've watched. And although it's a long running anime, I think that because of its length, it gives you an opportunity for you to really be invested. And I think that's the most important part about that anime. And that's why I wanted to show you guys my reactions, because I'm very invested into it. So that's kind of my journey with One Piece right now. I'm going to be doing reactions for the rest of the episodes. And of course, I know there's new episodes still dropping. So once I catch up, I will also be involved with doing, reactions as the episodes come out. So that's One Piece. Hunter x Hunter is the next anime that I'm doing reactions to. I'm doing reactions to that one because, once again, recommended to me. And I've actually always wanted to watch Hunter x Hunter. I just never did. I've heard amazing things about that anime. People are also saying that is one of the GOATs when it comes to animes. So I'm very excited. Very early in the series, and I'm actually enjoying it a lot as well. It seems like it's definitely going in weird, different directions that I think it would. And that's what everybody's telling me. It seems like it's one of those animes where, once again, just like One Piece, you think it's very basic in the beginning, and then boom, it really goes in a completely different direction. So I look forward to getting into all of that. So I'm excited about it. So with the other animes, I just started them. So if you haven't checked them out, definitely go check them out here on this private Patreon, of course. Those animes, Problem Children and Tower of God, are the two Patreon exclusive animes. So that'll be fun to watch as well. And then One Piece and Hunter x Hunter, I also post those videos on YouTube. Obviously, we all know the situation with YouTube, which is why on YouTube I can only, make cuts. Although when I first started editing out the videos, I didn't do such a great job with the first couple of videos. This is, once again, a learning process for me, but I'm definitely going to be cutting more and, trying to make the videos a little bit more interesting for people so that they can really enjoy it, make sure they get the best parts, of course, as well. So that's kind of my anime journey right now. For you patrons, and really, if you're listening to this podcast from anywhere, like, what's going to be awesome is that I'm going to definitely be taking recommendations on animes I should watch. That's going to be exciting. I'm also going to be taking recommendations on what kind of animes I should sample for the music. That's also going to be exciting. So definitely be on the lookout for that. If you're watching this, or if you're listening to this from your streaming platform, definitely follow me on social media at iamdesource. So you guys can kind of check out kind of what's going on with me, so you have an idea, so you know where you can get all of this content. Definitely go on YouTube, search up iamdesource as well, so you can kind of see what I'm doing. I'm doing a lot, and it's going to be really fun. I love making music, and music will always be my first love and be my first thing. Like I said, my goal is I'm trying to make music for a living. But at the same time, I also wanted to show you guys that I'm just like you. I love anime. I like video games. I like to have fun. I love pop culture. I don't want to be the type of person who's completely different from everybody else. I don't want to be the type of person who isolates myself because I'm exclusive to just making beats and I do this. No. At the end of the day, we all have what we like, and that's how it should be. We should never limit ourselves just because we want to do one thing. That's not the idea here. So that's a huge goal of mine. I'm very excited. Of course, I also want to be the guy who can make some amazing music with some amazing artists. I want to be responsible for bringing up independent artists or even working with major artists if I can. I know that sounds crazy, but even if and when, if I get to that position, I will never, ever, ever stop trying to be myself when it comes to posting cool content. So I'm very, very grateful for the position that I am in right now. And I hope you guys kind of get an idea of what I'm really trying to do with everything. As you guys know, I sometimes have a tendency to go on a rant, and right now I definitely feel like I've been talking a lot. So I'm just going to really kind of just end things here. For real. I know there's a lot of podcast episodes that can get much longer than this, but I figured, a 30-minute episode would be pretty good for you guys. So definitely let me know about these podcast episodes and kind of what topics we can talk about later on. It's a lot to talk about. I'm very excited because we're going to go in a lot of different directions. I'm not only going to be talking about anime and music, but every once in a while we'll talk about cool life stuff. That's why this podcast is called The Attic, because a lot of great conversations can happen whether it's in the basement or the attic, and that's what The Attic is really about. So, with that being said, I'm going to end the episode here. Of course, be on the lookout. There are episodes that drop every week. Exclusive, of course, only to the patrons first, and then it goes all to the streaming platforms. So, thank you guys for listening to this podcast episode. And until the next one, I'm out. And of course, don't let anybody ever tell you who you can or cannot be. I'm Robertini De'Source, and I will talk to you all next time.
This is from
Peace.
The Source, of course.